It's time for Insight, an inside view of what's happening in South Jersey. Join your hosts Anthony Fanucci and Jim Quinn as QVC brings you Insight with Anthony and Jim.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Quinn Restaurant, Main Road, or at Lincoln Avenue and Landis Avenue. Thank you. My guest is here. Thank God he's smart. Anyway, the mayor is not going to be available, but I'm honored to have Senator Mike Testa with us. Mike, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it.
Great to be back with you at the Quinn. What a wonderful job they've done with this place.
Haven't they?
It's absolutely beautiful in here.
Yeah.
It's great.
What's interesting too, and I was here with a friend recently, and they had this 2 for $30 special, and it's like chicken parm, meatloaf, lasagna, marinated chicken, liver, and eat turkey. I usually get the turkey. And you walk out here, it's $30 in tax. That's it. I mean, with inflation the way it is, folks, it's a great place to come. The portions are really good. And Yelmaz and his staff, they do a really good job.
The food is fantastic. Obviously, this is affiliated with the Millville Queen. And
yes, right.
And I had the chicken parmesan over there, and an Italian-American young man getting chicken parmesan at a local diner. You wouldn't think, but I have to tell you, it was fantastic.
Yeah, they really do a nice job. Well, speaking about doing nice jobs, you had to have had the highest you've ever had, a natural high. Tell everybody where you were and what you were doing. That was really neat.
So at the RNC, the Republican National Convention, I was the chairman of the delegation. I was honored to be the chairman of the delegation because there were so many really highly qualified people there. And I got to deliver the delegate votes. So when you deliver the delegate votes, you stand at your state's banner, and which is obviously New Jersey, and I had multiple chairmen, multiple elected officials with me when I got to deliver the delegation votes from the state of New Jersey for President Donald Trump.
There were 12, right?
That's correct. Unfortunately, yes. They were reduced from about 49 to 12 due to some type of snafu.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was unfortunate, but it is what it is, and we had the 12 delegate votes counted, obviously mine being one of them. So
that is fantastic. That had to be neat.
It was very neat. Wow. It was my second national convention.
Oh, okay.
My first one was in 2016. I was actually President Trump's co-chairman in 2020, but that was mostly, a virtual hearing, so I don't necessarily count that. But so 2016 and now 2024. But this year, being the chairman of the delegation, and Congressman Van Drew was President Trump's chairman of his campaign in the state of New Jersey. So it's great to be, two South Jersey guys doing pretty good for the party.
Yeah, well, that's for darn sure. That's fantastic. And he had a giant rally at Wildwood again, right?
He absolutely did. It was the second time President Donald J. Trump has had a rally in Wildwood. The first time was after I had recently won in 2019, and it was early 2020, and that was right when Congressman Van Drew changed parties from Democrat to Republican, and we welcomed them with open arms. It's great not to have to go against him all of the time because he certainly was winning. And as he has said, he didn't leave the Democrat Party, much like Ronald Reagan said many years ago, the Democrat Party left him. And I got to speak on that presidential stage in 2020, 2024 here, and when it was really beautiful out. Unfortunately, I wasn't on the stage, but it was still wonderful to have in our legislative district right here in South Jersey. And there were thousands upon thousands of people at that rally. It was incredible.
It's interesting to Congressman Van Drew's credit. I don't know anybody that worked harder to get elected as a Democrat than him, that he did. Because when you consider Cape May County is probably 70-30, 80-20.
It's probably in that 70-30 range, yeah.
And I mean, in Cumberland County, okay, when you ran, how many am I going to lose Cumberland County by? But Cape May County is going to offset it. So
it's funny you say that. In 2019, I actually won Cumberland County in my portion by 500 votes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So that was kind of a challenge I gave myself in 2019 to win my home county, because the old strategy, you hit the nail on the head, was how much can we win Cape May County by, but afford to lose Cumberland County by? And I didn't necessarily like that mentality. I thought that was a defeatist mentality, quite honestly. And I thought that, you know what, we need to find a way for Republicans to start winning in Cumberland County. And the first time I really saw that we were able to win, even in a presidential year, was with my good friend Joseph Sparatio when he won in 2016.
He was the only Republican out of the 10 elected positions, and he and I sat together. And we go out to dinner together. Oh my God, he's one of my very favorite people.
He's fantastic. So he was the first person to go against the grain in Cumberland County, especially in a presidential year, to say that a Republican could win in Cumberland County. So that in 2000, it went 2016. Unfortunately, we had a lull. Then 2019, we picked up the Doug Albrecht seat, and myself, Antoine McClellan, Eric Simonson, we flipped the first district. 2020, unfortunately, was an entire vote by mail election during COVID, so that was a little bit of a hiccup in our momentum for sure. But then 2021, 2022, 2023, we've swept every year since then.
Yeah. Wait, and it's amazing as we talk about Joe Kondo, who I really like him. This is a funny story. Like, I don't know if Joe told you, I didn't know who Joe Kondo was, but I kept reading about him, kept seeing the things on him and all that. So I'm with Nick Aselda one Tuesday night or Wednesday, it actually was, at Eastland. And he says, oh, there's Joe Kondo. He said, I don't know him. So I went over and introduced myself. Well, he knew me, but I didn't know him. And the thing that we had in common was Joe was freeholder director in Camden County in 1991. And I was freeholder director in Cumberland County in 1990. And I got blown away in 91. And the reason I got blown away was the Florio backlash. The reason he won was the Florio backlash.
That's right.
So we sort of had that bond that we talked about. But what a great guy.
He's a fantastic guy, and he's become a great ally to the Cumberland County organization for an individual that doesn't even live in Cumberland County. And I can say this, he's become one of my closest personal friends over the last 5 years. He brings a lot of wisdom to the party, a lot of wisdom to the candidates, infrastructure to the party, and just a great partnership that we have. And since we've partnered up, and we're both just what I would say is just extreme volunteers for the organization, you know, because he's a volunteer, I'm a volunteer as the chairman, and it's great to be partnering with him. And you know, it sort of took a little bit of an outside perspective to convince the people in Cumberland County that the plan was the correct plan.
Yes, it sure was. I mean, the thing I've got to give your candidates credit for is that they work. They're out banging on doors. They are going and going and going. And unfortunately, I didn't see that effort, even myself. I mean, when I was a Democrat running for county commission, well, freeholder then, I guess I didn't have to as much because it was pretty well known. But I didn't put the effort in that they put in. I mean, it's just marvelous to see. Last year, all the people that ran, they all won. And as we talked about with Joe Sparatio, he was on with me, it was 9-1 Democrat. Joe was the only Republican. And now you've totally flipped it the absolutely honest way. It's now 9 Republicans and only 1 Democrat. So this is a year, I guess, right?
It's a huge year, especially in a presidential year when a lot of people say that Republicans can't win in Cumberland County in a presidential year. I just think that's entirely false. And I think the dynamics are changing. And, you know, you mentioned, you know, even just speaking about the great entrees that they serve here for what a great price, even with inflation. I think most people are really feeling inflation at their homes. They're realizing their paychecks aren't going nearly as far as they used to, whether it's at a restaurant, whether it's at the gas pump, whether it's at a supermarket.
And paying rent if you have to, too.
Sure. And, you know, look, we're still in the middle of the, you know, towards the end of the Jersey summer. But people have really determined, hey, look, can I afford to go for a full week, or can I go for 2 weeks like I used to? People are reducing whatever period of time that they used to go to the Jersey Shore. They're, you know, if it was 2 weeks, now it's a week. If it was a week, now it's a few days that they're going down or taking only day trips, because people just don't have as much money as they used to. So I think the two major issues in this election cycle, and if candidates aren't talking about it, shame on them, it's the border and the economy.
Yeah, they are major factors, I think, that everybody realizes. And it's been interesting. I will say, I was very impressed listening to Tim Walz speak. He's like just a teacher you might have had in school or something like that. I did like his personality. You know?
He may be very likable, but he's also pretty darn radical in his viewpoints and his. You know, his wife was saying about the riots that happened in Minneapolis that she opened the windows to their home because she wanted to smell the tires burning in the riots, and that she loved the smell of the burning tires. So to me, that's not someone who is really in touch with your average voter.
No.
I don't think that most people want to go into the heart of their town, no matter what letter is next to their name or no letter attached to their name as an unaffiliated voter, that they want to smell, the smell of tires burning in a riot. That's not a good thing. I mean, it's never a good thing when people are destroying property. You know, in 2020, I remember it was labeled the Summer of Love, and they said it was a peaceful protest while federal buildings were on fire. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, I think we have to get back to a whole lot more common sense and civility amongst people. That's what I truly believe. And I think it's, no matter what letter you have next to your name or I have next to my name, if you're sitting at a diner, like there's nothing more Jersey than sitting at a diner. It's hard to hate someone who's sitting across the table from you when you're engaged in what I call civil discourse.
Exactly.
And there's a reason they call it civil discourse. It's supposed to be civil.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's some of the things I thought I read with Walz, that he could, sit and do that. But, who knows? I don't know the guy that well anyway. But as you pointed out, usually presidential election years, the Democrats did well in Cumberland County. But you've got such great momentum going, and you've got the director and the deputy director running. So that's the incumbency, which is a benefit as well. And I'm sure they'll be working hard, doing what they need to do. And they have two good opponents against them, the former sheriff, Bob Ostino, and Johnny Capozola, who I really like a lot. He's a school teacher, phys ed teacher, and a nice person. But, again, your people worked hard, and they blew a long way. They did.
I have to give them credit. They work really hard. We come up with a walking schedule. We come up with event schedules. And I'll give you the example of Tony Romero in 2021. And it was my first re-election year, and it was his first election. And he had, I don't want to put his business too much out there, but he had a pretty major health issue that he recovered fully from, thank God, knock on wood. And I remember it was 90 degrees or so. And he had a leg sleeve on because of this condition that he had. And he was walking, knocking on doors with me.
Oh, my God.
And I was making sure we had someone in a car behind us with some cold drinks, water, Gatorade, things of that nature. And I kept saying, "Hey, Tony, do you need a break?" He goes, No, Mr. Chairman, I'm good. No, Chairman, I'm good.
Wow.
And I said, "Tony, we're going to knock on a lot of doors today. Let's relax." And I have to tell you, I had to pull him away because he started to limp a little bit because of his leg. And I said, "Hey, Tony, it's now like 3 o'clock. We've been knocking on doors for like 5.5 hours." I said, let's call it a day. And I remember we went to the Your House and had a nice beer together. I said, I need a nice cold one, buddy. I said, I knocked on a lot of doors. And he said, I said, "You want to come with me?" And he said, "Yeah." And we brought our volunteers out as well. So it was very nice. But that really epitomizes the hard work.
Yeah. Well, he's been a successful businessman and works very hard. And Tony and I go way back to the early 1980s. He was at Teleprompter, one of their high-tech people that put stuff together. And the manager of Teleprompter was Joe O'Donnell. And Joe and I partnered and started Clover Cable. Well, Tony was like the man behind the scenes that could do all the stuff. I didn't know anything technical and all that stuff. So we have a really good... I admire him a lot.
So I know Joe O'Donnell's children. Dave O'Donnell and Katie.
Yes,
yeah. So my brother's really tight with Dave O'Donnell, and Katie was a year ahead of me. So
great family. It's a shame. Joe passed away many years ago with pancreatic cancer. Pat just died recently.
I didn't know that. Oh.
Yeah, in fact, I tried to get to the event, but somehow I got my directions messed up or whatever. But Lene Bowers, do you know her?
I do.
That's their niece. She's, of course, a sergeant of
Captain
of Vineland Police Department, and a really good person. We're talking with Senator Mike Testa, who is senator for the 1st Legislative District, And we'll be back to talk more with Mike right after these messages.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
Many people treat their health like a game. With Complete Care Health Network, it's easy to start your healthcare journey. Just select from our specialties and schedule online, by phone, or on our app. Our entire team communicates with one another, so everyone works together on your total health. Plus, we make it even easier with all of these additional benefits. Level up your health with us. Complete Care Health Network. No games, just great health care for everyone.
The most important decisions a family can make are usually made around the kitchen table. At DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, we believe pre-planning and the difficult decisions you face with the loss of a loved one should also be made around the comfort of a table, like a family. Our friendly, kind, and compassionate staff is committed to helping you get through this most difficult time. In your time of need, trust DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, Vineland.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
It's time for Insight, an inside view of what's happening in South Jersey. Join your hosts Anthony Fanucci and Jim Quinn as QVC brings you Insight with Anthony and Jim.
Welcome back to Insight. Mayor Anthony Fanucci is taking the next few months off. To his credit, he said, Jim, I'm running for office and I would rather not come on TV. So I guess November, December, he'll be back. But we've got a couple of your guys coming. Tell us about your assemblyman.
So look, Eric Simonson is just has a lifetime as an adult in education, particularly special ed, but now he's the athletic director. We have Antoine McClellan, who's from Ocean City. It's just, what a dedicated human being. Forget about public servant.
Isn't he? What a nice
but
man.
Just someone who coaches basketball, loves his community, and everyone in his community loves him.
Yeah.
You're going to have a real treat with them. They really, we're sort of that, what I call a 3-legged stool. Like one, the stool won't work without one of the legs. Because I'm in Vineland, Antoine's in Ocean City, Eric is in Lower Township, former mayor as well.
Right.
So those two gentlemen have prior experience in government before being elected to the legislature. I didn't. I was just merely, the county chair for Cumberland County Republican Organization. But I had a lot of public service with the Downtown Improvement District and Big Brothers Big Sisters were the two main groups that I was heavily involved in.
And you had 2 fantastic parents who raised a wonderful son.
Oh boy, thank you for that. Yes, I wouldn't be anywhere without my parents.
I tell you what, and you promised, I want to meet Mike's mom because all I hear is great things about her. And she's like the deputy mayor of Buena Vista Township.
That's correct,
That's fantastic.
So you'll appreciate this story. So my mom and I talk pretty much every day, usually multiple times. And, after I had run for office, but before she did, she would complain about certain things in the township. And, I'll brag a little bit that myself, Antoine, and Eric were able to flip the first legislative district. Well, she and her running mates, they flipped Buena Vista Township shortly thereafter.
Chuck Sherrill is no longer around.
He did pass away, unfortunately, and he had been a long-standing mayor. And, I said to my mom one day, Mom, you complain about a lot of these problems. You either have to find people to run or you may have to run yourself. She said, I'm never going to run for office. Well, don't you know she did? And she really loves it, and she's dedicated. She's everywhere. She's always at, they do a free concert in Buena Vista Township. Nice. It's really nice. Great music, by the way. She's there. They have a food truck festival. She's there. She does a lot of that community outreach that's so necessary to be a local public servant.
Yeah, that's true. And right next door in Buena Borough is my cousin Joey Baruffi.
Great guy.
Yeah, who always, I don't know if I told you the story, but we're sitting one time talking about the people that I know in the Buena Borough area. And it's Perella and Dorella and my landscape guy, Dennis Corolla, and all that. And he goes, Jim. I said, what? He said, what do they all have in common? I said, they're all Italian, and I love them. You been to Italy?
I've never been.
Oh my God, the people there are as nice as the people here. Just the nicest people.
That's great.
They had like trattorias, and you go in, and it's like sitting in their kitchen, having the best Italian food you'd ever want to have. It was, what a pleasure to go. So
then I need to go.
Yeah, you'll take some of that great personality from here there with you, and you'll see people same way. I mean, honestly, look at Bear Finucci. You just go down the list to sell. I don't care who it is. I don't know of any Italian that I haven't really liked, especially that I've worked with. And Joey Sparacio, my God, I love that guy like a son.
He's like a distant cousin of mine, and I happen to love him very dearly.
Yeah.
And he has a young family now. He's doing
his
great
wife
things.
is in politics now too.
She is in Deerfield. That's
you
correct.
got her in. Right?
Yeah, McCole.
That's right.
They call her Mickey.
Yeah,
they call her
right.
Mickey.
Yeah.
McCole. Yeah, she's fantastic. She's an attorney by trade. Very smart woman.
Yeah.
And tough, and she puts up with Joe, so that's good. Yeah.
Oh my God! And I got to meet, of course, Mickey and all his dad, his mom, his brother. Really great people.
Great family.
Farming community that served us very well. So tell me, what would an average day when you have to go to Trenton be for you? What happens?
So it depends on which committee I'm on. I happen to sit on what I would argue are the two hardest working committees, the Judiciary Committee and the Senate Budget and Appropriations Committee.
Yeah, budget would be a big one.
Yes, and those are long days of budget hearings, and a lot of people coming before the Senate Budget Appropriations Committee saying what they need in the budget. A lot of people asking for money. Obviously there's been major disputes over school funding formula, what has been known as S2.
Right.
And a lot of our communities in Legislative District 1 have been, unfortunately affected by S2. This formula, they say, is this panacea that just works for all of the communities and is doing such a great job, when in fact, myself, Senator Declan O'Scanlan, we've been sort of shouting from the rooftops for the last 5 years that, hey, S2 is hurting some communities. I'll give you an example of one of my communities in Cape May County, Dennis Township.
Yeah.
They tell us that S2 is working, yet in the last 5 years, their budget's been cut by 70%.
Oh my God.
70%.
Wow.
And I don't know how anybody could look at them and state that this is a stronger and fairer New Jersey for them. Wow. They've had to lay off basic skills teachers. The class size is over 30 per class. They're thinking of they may have to charge children to take buses to school. That's a real problem when you're already paying taxes. So it shows that an algorithm or a formula is not a fix-all. You have to actually go into the community and see exactly what it is that they need, and that maybe the formula is a template to start with. Right. But you have to find out where it fails, where it's not working.
Well, and what's interesting, you just pointed out that we hadn't talked about yet, is the rateable base. The rateable base in Cape May County, because of the barrier islands, is astronomical. It's phenomenal. So they don't have to worry, about funding for the kids in school. They don't have many kids either, because of the way the Seashore's set up. But like Dennis Township, they don't have that benefit of that high property values and businesses and all that kind of stuff. And I guess Upper doesn't either, although Upper makes out well in Townsend's Inlet. Or no, I'm sorry, Strathmere. Don, do you know Don Rainier?
I do.
Okay, well, he lives in Strathmere. He pays astronomical taxes. I used to have a house right on the ocean in Sea Isle, and my taxes were $700 a year, $7,000 for a house that was valued at almost $1 million. In Millville, my house was valued at $250,000, and I was paying $12,000. So you can see where the difference is built on a rateable base. Where does Cumberland County in comparison?
Sure, and look, there are communities in Cumberland County that are affected. There's communities that are affected all over the state of New Jersey that we can show you with hard factual numbers that S2 isn't working.
Yeah.
And, they're not facing, and many times people will say, well, look at what their superintendent makes, or look at what this principal makes. And you say, okay, let's say you can cut $50,000. There's a $4 million budget shortfall or a $7 million budget shortfall. It's not because of that salary.
And you're not going to attract that person because everybody else is paying the same basic money.
Correct.
So you got to go with what the amount of people deserve to have at that time. But that's been, I thank God, Mike, that we've been able to keep the somewhat Abbott District thing alive for Vineland, Millville, Bridgeton.
100%. Absolutely. Otherwise, the taxes would be out of control.
Yeah.
They would be absolutely out of control. And there's already an affordability problem in the state of New Jersey. There would be a massive affordability problem for Vineland, Millville, Bridgeton, if we did not still have that level of funding.
Yeah, it's something. By the way, one of our good friends, Patty Pollard, said hello.
Oh.
We were talking about you, Patty, what a wonderful lady you are, and your connection with Pete Rose.
Yeah, that's
Mike
absolutely
and I were talking about that. Thank you for getting me at Pete Rose Baseball. Speaking of him, do you think they should put him in the Hall of Fame?
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially now. My God, they're advertising gambling during the game.
So yes, and he's Charlie Hustle.
Yeah.
He has the most hits out of any Major League Baseball player of all time.
Yeah.
If we're going to start going to judge on character, then we may. What I'm told, again, I wasn't there, but the Ty Cobbs of the world might not want to be in.
Yeah,
there was some, ugly rumors about Ty Cobb, but he let his baseball do the talking.
Yeah.
And Pete Rose, no matter what anybody could say about him, I don't think he ever threw a game.
No.
He is.
It's too competitive.
Yeah, he was absolutely one of the greatest baseball players of all time, part of the Big Red Machine, part of the Philadelphia Phillies. I just think he belongs in the Hall of Fame. And look, maybe I'm a little biased. I met him.
Yeah.
He's a funny guy, tells great dugout stories, tells great stories from the road, and genuinely is one of those people that loves America's pastime, loves the game of baseball. And I think he's suffered long enough, in my opinion.
I agree. And especially now it's changed where they're welcoming gambling. So it's become part of the ritual, the whole situation that we have going on. We're talking with Senator Mike Testa about many good things, and we'll be back to talk more. I want to get back to Trenton and the time that he was talking about his two committees, and we'll do all that right after these messages.
We're all looking for God. All the signs point to there is really a God. We try to find him in all kinds of ways, in all kinds of places, and through all kinds of things. But there's only one way to find him. That's by personal experience with him. Come visit us this Sunday. We can introduce you to him. New Life Church, Millville, New Jersey.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
Many people treat their health like a game. With Complete Care Health Network, it's easy to start your healthcare journey. Just select from our specialties and schedule online, by phone, or on our app. Our entire team communicates with one another, so everyone works together on your total health. Plus, we make it even easier with all of these additional benefits. Level up your health with us. Complete Care Health Network. No games, just great healthcare for everyone.
The most important decisions a family can make are usually made around the kitchen table. At DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, we believe pre-planning and the difficult decisions you face with the loss of a loved one should also be made around the comfort of a table, like a family. Our friendly, kind, and compassionate staff is committed to helping you get through this most difficult time. In your time of need, trust DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, Vineland.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
It's time for Insight, an inside view of what's happening in South Jersey. Join your hosts Anthony Fanucci and Jim Quinn as QVC brings you Insight with Anthony and Jim.
Welcome back to Insight, actually. And here at the beautiful Quinn restaurant, Lincoln and Landis Avenue in Vineland, you can get $16 for one meal, or you could bring a friend and you get two meals for $30. As the senator and I were talking about, very reasonable when you think about what you got to go spend at a supermarket to get. You get soup or salad, entree, vegetable, dessert. It's complete, everything you want, and it's a good portion. I ended up taking half of mine home, so it's a very good food. And as you talked about, you go to the Queen and Millville a lot too and see Mehmed, who is Mr. Kenkel's dad. Yelma is his father as well. Nice people, they really are. Anyway, so the day when you go for the budget committee hearing, is that an all-day thing?
It really depends. I don't want to sound like a lawyer on this one, but it depends on how many bills we have. And sometimes bills are up for discussion only, and we discuss bills.
Right.
Or if there are bills that have to go through the budget committee. And what's so special about the budget committee, a lot of legislators don't want to be on the budget committee because it is such a hard-working committee. Of someone like me, I want to learn the inner workings of Trenton and understand the budget. When your budget's now $56 billion plus, I want to know where the money's going. And I've been a pretty harsh critic of some of the pork that exists.
Right.
In the,
well, that's good. We appreciate it.
Thank you. With the pork that exists in the budget in the state of New Jersey, because South Jersey never seems to get her fair share anyway.
Now, look at what all Wildwood kicks in. Did they finally give you money for the boardwalk?
So we do. So we have, that was actually myself and Senator Sarlo. Okay. That was a $100 million boardwalk preservation for the state. Yeah. So and Wildwood got a significant portion. And I have to tell you, North Wildwood, Sea Isle City, Cape May, we did very, very well in Cape May County. And, look, in a true bipartisan effort, I will say this, between Senator Sarlo, who's the chair of the Budget Committee, a very important position to hold, and Governor Murphy to approve that money to come to my legislative district. A lot of times people accuse me of being so partisan and I can't get things done. That's you're always judged by whether you can bring home the bacon to your district, right? Yeah. And look, there's bacon that was brought home to the district. In addition to North Wildwood had a wonderful beach preservation.
Isn't that amazing? Down there, Wildwood Crest, a friend of mine lives down there. My gosh, it's like 2 miles to get to the beach. And yet at North Wildwood, it's like Sea Isle and some Ocean City where there's not a lot of beach.
Yeah, and what's interesting is look, there's been some heavy weather events that have washed that beach away. Yeah, right. And I'm told that there was a project done many years ago that caused a siphoning, and it was through no fault of North Wildwood, that there was, I think it was the Army Corps of Engineers, I could be wrong on that there was a siphoning effect of the sand from North Wildwood depositing into Wildwood. But I have to tell you, look, there was a whole lot of moving parts there, and had myself, Governor Murphy, Mayor Rosanello of North Wildwood, and Governor Murphy's then Chief of Staff, who used to be the Commissioner of the Department of Transportation. Her name is Diane Gutierrez Cassetti. She's fantastic, and she really was the person that ran point as to how this project could get done. And in hearing Mayor Rosanello speak about how fast this project got done, it was over 2 billion pounds of sand. 2 billion pounds of sand, 200 feet width of beach for every single block in North Wildwood, that they were able to dredge that from Hereford Inlet. It was remarkably fast, and we were able to save the summer in North Wildwood. So again, it's a long answer to a short question, but so some days in budget hearings, sometimes you're there till 10, 11 o'clock at night. Other days you go in and it's 4 bills and you're in and out in an hour and 20 minutes, and it's pretty quick. So it really depends. And then our voting sessions are the same way. Sometimes we have a few bills to vote on, and sometimes we have a whole lot, and there's a lot of discussion. And we also want to make sure that we let our constituents know if we're opposing a bill for a very good reason.
Right.
A lot of times we give what's called a floor speech, and people think it's political grandstanding. It's not, and it's not filibuster. We are there to voice our opinions, and as I say as an attorney, I like to create a record. Right,
Yeah,
that's what I'm there to do.
point.
I'm there to create a record
Yeah.
as to why I'm opposing it, and sometimes I'm supporting it. Hey, this is a great bill, and this shows when you've been working across the aisle. It goes both ways, obviously.
Yeah, that's what I said when I was mayor. Nick Caselda was taking me up to Trenton to meet some of his colleagues. And it was nice. They helped us on projects. Speaking of great projects, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of all of you, the county commissioners, what you guys have done, and Congressman Andrew on the sewer plant in Fortescue. God bless Bob Campbell. Years ago, when I was county freeholder, he brought that up, and we did support it. Helped with whatever, guaranteed, I guess, bonding, whatever. But I saw you had a big ribbon cutting just recently.
Yeah, and it shows that Cumberland County's on the map because even U.S. Senator Booker was there.
I heard that. Yeah.
And I have to say this about Mayor Campbell. Under the Gold Dome in Trenton, he's known as one of the most tenacious mayors.
Yeah.
And I mean that in the most loving of ways. I really like Mayor Campbell. I've known him long before I was the state senator. And I still remember, when Kim Guadagno was a lieutenant governor, she one time called me and she says, how close are you with this Mayor Bob Campbell? And he's tenacious. He doesn't stop. And I even incorporated that into my speech about how great it is when you have someone who stands up for their community and is that tenacious, and how many times they're told, you're crazy, this will never work, or you're nuts, this will never work.
Yeah.
And I said, it takes someone with brains who sometimes, in the face of all the adversity, appears to be a little nuts, and to get things done. Yeah. And boy, did Bob Campbell deliver for his people. And I really believe that sewer plant is going to be exactly what is necessary for Fortescue, for downtownship to expand.
Yes.
And I think it's going to be, look, they saved their community. They quite literally saved their community.
Senator, the other factor is, we're talking about Wildwood and Ocean City. We have the other Jersey shore, the Bay shore, and it's beautiful. I was down a couple of weeks ago having dinner, and people come from all over to Sybil's.
Absolutely.
He's a character. I love him. And, it was packed. You have to have reservations to go to. This is a Hotel Charlesworth, folks. And the food is phenomenal. And friends of mine used to live in this area. They live up in the Glassboro area. They were there. And, every time I go, I see a doctor friend of mine lives in Cherry Hill. And it's just a great draw. But that's still being able to be there. And some of the property values have already doubled.
Yes.
Knowing the sewer's coming in.
Absolutely. And I think there's going to be a boom of development there, in healthy development.
Yes,
good development down there, so that people understand that there is another part of the Jersey Shore. And in fact, I've promised, Curtis Bashaw, our United States Senate candidate, to go down to Fortescue and to obviously the Bay Shore Center, so that we can shuck some oysters on a first Friday.
That's cool.
I mean, people don't realize that is part of our New Jersey.
Yeah,
and it's something that Antoine McClellan always calls the real South Jersey.
Yes, I agree with him.
And he doesn't eat any seafood, but he's been on the dock with me when I've eaten probably 24 raw oysters, and he says, I don't know how you eat that stuff. I said, I grew up here. I love it. I love being there and in bivalve. And, obviously, New Jersey's tall ship, the A.J. Mearwald is there. I've been able to, somewhat captain that ship at one point. They let me bring it into dock when I was the new senator. Yeah, it was great. And I think it's just, there's so much history there that people don't realize, the rich history of being a waterman there.
That's true.
Living off of oysters, scallops.
Yes.
It's incredible the amount of money that goes through our Bayshore community. My understanding is the economic multiplier is over $40 million a year.
Wow, that's fast.
Just in oysters, by the way. In oysters.
Yeah, and that's what actually built Port Norris, was the oyster industry, and bivalve and
shell pile.
Thank you.
I knew where you were going.
Because of course, I went to school with the kids from Port Norris. They were my classmates, and we had a great time. And I actually brought cable television to Port Norris as well back in the early '80s. You were in kindergarten. But it really is. I mean, we're so lucky. And I love Mike Visser. And Mike called me and said, Jim, I hope you're not going to get mad at me, but I've switched to become the Republican. I said, no, I'm very proud of you to do that because you'll win. And then Kenny Wilton called, and he said, Jim, I flipped. I'm going to run as a Republican. I said, good, you'll win. And he did.
In commercial.
Yes. Yeah. Well, no, Mike is in commercial
and
Kenny's in Mars
River.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but I had them on the show. So, you guys are doing a wonderful job. And I mean, to your credit, you're the chairman of the party. You're our state senator representing us for the 1st legislative district. And I don't know how you do it. You get busy. And yet, well, I know how come you got such a nice personality because your dad is fabulous. And I'm sure your mom must be too. And I can't wait to meet Mom.
So I'm a mixture. So my dad is the consummate gentleman all the time, and my mom has a lot more pepper. So I fall in between the two for sure. I will tell you. Okay. And my mom is not one to be trifled with. I'll tell you that right now. She's tough. Like her, listen, her parents met in a Nazi concentration camp.
My God.
Wow. And my grandparents. So unfortunately, I didn't know they passed before I was born. And my mom loves her community. She loves South Jersey just like me, and they instilled that in me. And that was on both sides because my grandfather, Frank Testa, he did not like the fact that my cousins, whom I love very much, wanted to move away, and he said, we have to give back to the town that made us. And he really instilled that in me, in the fact that he didn't speak English until 1st grade and then went on to become valedictorian of Vineland High.
Oh, wonderful.
And think about it. He was the first elected mayor of the city of Vineland in 1956. Yeah, that's right. And the local municipal courthouse is named after him. And I say this to Mayor Finucci all the time, who's a dear friend, like a brother to me. I always say, my grandfather is looking down on you and very proud of your job as mayor. And Mayor Finucci, I'll make the prediction on your show right now. We'll be the first 3-term elected mayor in the city of Vineland's history.
I totally agree with you. In fact, I was kidding him one night. I said, who in the world with their right mind would run against you? We'll just leave it at that. But he is so great. My gosh, what he's done with the city of Vineland and the industrial park is packed, and Zandy Forsiski is an economic development person. She's wonderful.
It takes a team, and I use Ronald Reagan as the example for almost everything when it comes to government because I happen to love President Reagan.
Yeah, super good.
He surrounded himself with great, smart people. Alan Greenspan.
Yes.
You have Mayor Finucci, who's brilliant in his own right. Yeah. Who surrounds himself with great people like a Sandy Forsiski, like a Rick Tanetta,
exactly.
Like an Edwin Alisea. It's just you can see that there's just such a great sense of team over there.
Yes.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my 8th grade basketball coach Perry Barcy, who I think was a fantastic mayor of the city of Vineland as well.
It's funny. I just saw Perry and his wife out to Riggy's. Just the other day. It was really good to see him. In fact, he and I were serving as mayor simultaneously, me and Millville and him in Vineland, so we were on the UEZ committee. We served on that together as well. Very intelligent man, no question about it.
Extremely so, and was the one who I think put the initial focus on our industrial park. And, Mayor Finucci took the ball and ran with it all the way into the end zone.
Right.
For sure,
Yeah, that's a good point because it was just rocking and rolling, and it's unbelievable how well they've done. I went to the Vineland Chamber event. Who's the person they honored for the cold storage? Lavari, was it? Or there was some name that they talked about. This guy just keeps doing cold storage for him. He's running out of space. But anyway, do you know Ray Kronk?
Yes, the Trump.
Yeah, because he has.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. Yeah.
I go out there, he and I were sharing affiliate tickets, and I drop his off, and I go out there, and I look, and I go, my God, this is amazing. At the Vineland Industrial Park. There is no space. There's cars. There's business activity going on like crazy.
There is, and I'm hoping that Millville can have that same level of what I'll call the industrial revolution in their industrial park. As well, because it's necessary for South Jersey. It brings ratables to our municipalities.
Yes, exactly.
It brings great employment opportunities, especially for people in the community.
Yeah.
I was at the ribbon cutting of that facility, Livoni.
Yes.
And how lucky are we right here in South Jersey? In Vineland, we have Rovagnati, which is a great Italian meat company. In Millville, you have Livoni, and apparently they're friendly competitors. I didn't know this, that they're truly in Italy, they're friends.
That's good.
And it's sort of like, Home Depot and Lowe's, typically they're across the street from each other. They're
Yeah.
all from the same small region in Italy.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that. And Mr. Lavoni was telling me that because he said, we're not even like necessarily really competitors. We're friends, And I
Can
said,
you speak Italian?
so I had 4 years at high school and 1 year at Villanova. When I was 19, the answer was yes, fluently.
Right.
But it's been, I'm ashamed to admit this, that was 29 years ago when I stopped having Italian class. So
You look like you're 29, so keep up the good work.
well,
man.
thank you. If you don't use it, you lose it. And
Yeah.
I can pick it up here and there when I listen to someone speak Italian, but it's a little bit lost right now. I would need one of those refresher courses for sure.
That is nice, that really is. We'll be back to wrap up with Senator Testa right after these messages.
We're all looking for God. All the signs point to there is really a God. We try to find him in all kinds of ways, in all kinds of places, and through all kinds of things. But there's only one way to find him. That's by personal experience with him. Come visit us this Sunday. We can introduce you to him. New Life Church, Millville, New Jersey.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
Many people treat their health like a game. With Complete Care Health Network, it's easy to start your healthcare journey. Just select from our specialties and schedule online, by phone, or on our app. Our entire team communicates with one another, so everyone works together on your total health. Plus, we make it even easier with all of these additional benefits. Level up your health with us. Complete Care Health Network. No games, just great health care for everyone.
The most important decisions a family can make are usually made around the kitchen table. At DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, we believe pre-planning and the difficult decisions you face with the loss of a loved one should also be made around the comfort of a table, like a family. Our friendly, kind, and compassionate staff is committed to helping you get through this most difficult time. In your time of need, trust DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, Vineland.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
We're all looking for God. All the signs point to there is really a God. We try to find him in all kinds of ways, in all kinds of places, and through all kinds of things. But there's only one way to find him. That's by personal experience with him. Come visit us this Sunday. We can introduce you to him. New Life Church, Millville, New Jersey.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
Many people.
It's time for Insight, an inside view of what's happening in South Jersey. Join your hosts Anthony Fanucci and Jim Quinn as QVC brings you Insight with Anthony and Jim.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Welcome back to Around South Jersey. Senator Mike Testa is our guest this evening. It's a privilege to have him here. Mike, thank you so much for coming in and introducing me to Casey, your right-hand man. And I wanted to also mention, Arvine Kilby, what a sweetheart. Boy, you got some great people.
Yeah,
you know?
listen, I've told you offline before, President Reagan was my favorite president.
Right.
And he surrounded himself with great people. That's what I try to do. I could tell you, Casey's about 8 months into the job now, being the chief of staff. And he comes from the political side, so this is somewhat new to him too. And he's doing a fantastic job. And Arvine, I don't know that I could be in office without Arvine. I'm going to be very frank. She has been such a savior. And she was the point person for myself, Antoine, and Eric, for the head of constituent services for our offices, during COVID. So thousands of people that were dealing with unemployment issues, they all had to talk to Arvine before they got to us, And she handled them like a charm. And I can tell you that hundreds of our constituents have emailed us, sent us cards because of the way Arvine handled the case.
My daughter had a question, and she said, Dad, Arvine Kilby was so nice. I said, yes, she is. She ran against me. Did you know that?
Oh, that's right.
She was the friendliest opponent I ever had.
Was that 2017?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But what a sweetie. Very, very nice person. And again, to your credit, you're following the Reagan footsteps where you surround yourself with good people. And well, that means a lot. And even with the county, my God, having Hal Johnson there as administrator, what an amazing person. So talented. And I love his sense of humor. We have a great sense of humor, too. I love his sense of humor, his intelligence. He was a judge. He's a lawyer. Wow.
Former freeholder?
Yeah, that's right. I forgot. He had that 3-year period where they had the monsoons and the Democrats stayed home.
That's correct. Yeah, there was a...
Jeff Trout and he...
Yeah, that would have been before I graduated law school. I think it was 99.
Yes, 1999. It was 99.
Yeah.
And I think it might have been Jimmy, Jeff Trout, and Hal. I'm not sure. It may have been somebody else.
And Hal was an attorney, an associate attorney at my dad's law firm when I was younger. So I've known him for years. Yeah. And his demeanor, which was great as a Superior Court judge, is incredible. And we're very, very lucky to have him there. And you said his sense of humor, also his taste in bourbon, which happens to be my favorite spirit. I have to say is top notch. And every now and again, we like to get together for an adult libation. So
that's nice. Yeah, I just really enjoy it. But even Kim Cottaspati, nobody works harder than her to do the clerk's job, clerk to the board.
Absolutely. And she's school board president. So you want to talk about someone who gives back to the community, loves the community.
Yeah. I loved her husband, Tim. Great guy.
Great police chief.
He was. I really enjoyed him. He would come on the show a lot of times. We were lucky, though, like in Cumberland County, even in Cape May County, there's a lot of great people, like Lenny Desiderius.
He's the best.
He really is.
He's the best. Yeah, talk about a dynamo. He's the mayor. He's the freeholder, commissioner, director. Owns a wonderful place called Kix McNutley's. Yeah. Which is jam-packed and constantly innovating and expanding. And here he's working his behind off at the height of the season for sure. And yet is the guy that will always take your call, always calls you back, knows his constituents, and just comes from a political family. His brother Gerard, who's deceased, unfortunately, was a close friend of my father's, and he was actually the county chairman in Cape May County years ago.
Yeah, I had a house for 30 years in Seattle. Lenny was just the best. In fact, Jason Kelsey, I guess, is there now. He's making Seattle very famous. They're having ball games on the beach in Seattle with big screens and stuff like that. They've been advertising it. Just a nice community and a great guy. And lots of them. Many, many more as well. Mike, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Anytime, I'd love to be on again.
I'd love to have you. In fact, you could have your own show if you like.
But I know you have to get my mom on before you have me on again.
Yeah, well, maybe you bring Mom and we'll have you and Mom.
We'll definitely do that.
I would love to do that.
Would love to.
Thank you. I look forward to meeting her. All I hear is great things about her. I hear she's a heck of a chef, too.
She's a phenomenal chef and certainly gave me my love of great food and good eating. So,
But to your credit, man, you look great.
Thank you.
Stay in good shape. You really do.
I try my best,
you look good. Keep up the good work, and thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Senator Mike Testa, who is our senator for the 1st Legislative District here in Cape May, Cumberland County, has been our guest this evening. Ryan Narowski produced the show. Ryan, thank you so much for being there, and we'll see you soon. Take care, folks. Good night.
This has been a QBC television production, in association with our partners and sponsors. QBC broadcasts on Comcast Cable Channel 22, and live streams its programming on Facebook and YouTube. All rights reserved by Quinn Media and QBC, programming that serves the South Jersey market.